Listen, I'm sitting next to a man who's probably saying he lost $50,000. That's 50,000 US dollars, Will. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Ndate Ngala, better known as Natati Nakala in these here United States of America, and I'm joined by the one and only Mr. Georges.
Yes, sir. Great day, ladies and gents. This is the one and only Wilson E. Georges, and we are here today in this beautiful home to kind of go over of how I lost 50K on this flip.
Listen, I'm sitting next to a man who's probably saying he lost $50,000. That's 50,000 US dollars, Will. I'm proud of you, but I don't know about that one. So we're going to have to talk. I'm going to have to learn and understand how you lose $50,000 and still smell and look so good.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to talk about that.
Yes, we are. So today we're going to get into how I lost 50K on this deal and how for you not to lose 50K on any deals. Or if you do lose 50K in the profit margin, that you still walk away with a profit and never actually lose money.
Perfect. So listen, buckle up, come along. Short but quick ride. We're going to enjoy it. We're going to talk about a lot of good points over here. Will, let's kick things off. This is a beautiful property. How long have you had this property in your hands for?
This property, we've actually had it a while, longer than anticipated. This one was about 8 months.
8 months. That is definitely not usual for your turnarounds on your project. So I want you to tell the good people here, maybe keeping it brief on what were some of the biggest findings as you did your analysis of why you lost this $50,000. I'm sure there were some surprises along the way that brought you to this point. Can you go walk us through some of those?
Absolutely. So some of the surprises, right, was that when we purchased this property, there was a hole in the back here that is now fenced in. But when it was springtime and we get more rain, the hole filled up with water. So the house was actually on a higher water table than normal. So once the hole filled up, we had this pond in the back here.
Ooh.
And it was just a major turnoff to everybody.
So what I'm hearing is weather, time of the year, the season of the year had an impact on this, it sounds like.
Absolutely. And in addition to, one tip that I will give is, hiring friends when it comes to flips and construction deadlines is never a good thing. Our painter, which was a friend of mine, from back in the day, and we had hired him, and unfortunately he had delayed this job like 3 months with the painting, and the painting had to get done over, it wasn't done right, etc. So that also held us up big time.
And I know you're usually very buttoned up with your paperwork, so I'm certainly sure that you ensure that everything is taken care of in the contracts and his delayed and so forth. So I guess a tip right there for you is if you are going to choose to use friends, families, or otherwise, make sure everything is buttoned up, right? Because people could delay you. All right, so far we've talked about the surprise of the hole out there, which basically led to another surprise in the springtime. But I'm sure you had some people coming over saying, I don't care about the hole. I want to go in here. I want to get this house, right? Maybe they're ready to buy. Are there any other surprises that you did not expect that maybe even educated you a little bit more?
Absolutely. So another surprise, guys, is that we had 5 offers right off the rip, right? And unfortunately, they were willing to give us pretty much what we had the house listed for, but they were only FHA approved, which was, they are first time home buyers. They were only approved for the maximum amount for this area. And that was kind of new to us, is that different jurisdictions, different counties can have different caps on the FHA limit.
Okay, I want us to just take a step back here because that's a lot to unpack. So first and foremost, first-time home buyers, you've got 5 buyers. They're all interested in the property regardless of what's happening in the backyard. However, as they go for their loan process, you learn that based on this location, which is a pretty good location, there are some limits for first-time home buyers that they wouldn't be able to qualify to actually purchase the property.
That is correct. So for example, the FHA offers were $180,000 less than what the listing price was. So we couldn't even entertain them, unfortunately, because it's one thing to give someone a little break on offer, but at that point we were just literally giving it away.
Your hands are tied. Your hands are tied.
Yeah.
So after doing a little bit of research, because you and I talked a little bit about this before, and in my day job as an inclusion advisor, some of the things we talked about is redlining. Right? So we're not going to dive into that history right now, but I encourage you, go ahead and do your Google search wherever you find your information about redlining laws and what they have done to impact property ownership, buying, and so forth in these here United States of America. So that is a great one, Will, that I never even thought that you would come across during, a property where you're rehabbing it and selling it. So a great lesson there. So you've got 5 buyers. They don't get approved. I'm sure now you're moving things along and you're thinking they couldn't be any more surprises. That has to be it.
Well, that wasn't it. But to touch back real quick on what you mentioned, right? So it's funny because we never expected the FHA cap to be so low for this area. This is a very desirable, super, super affluent community.
Yes.
So it's almost as if, the bar was set so low for these FHA buyers where I don't think you can find a home in this community for that price.
So ultimately, it's restricting certain folks at a certain budget not to be able to move into the neighborhood.
It's definitely restricting a certain
profile.
Demographic profile. It's definitely restricting some families from getting into this community with an FHA. That's for sure.
We got to do better. We got to do better. So again, what you're getting here, ladies and gentlemen, is not only just about owning property, but it also just talks about how the laws and what you've been invested in, which is educating other people. Sometimes the laws just get in the way. So I'm sure you a mastermind. You plan things out, so you overcome that. And I'm sitting here thinking there can't be any more surprises that will get in your way for you to keep this property sold and moving along. But nope, I'm wrong. There was another surprise, wasn't it?
There was another surprise.
Tell us more. Let's hear more about this.
Surprise. So it's kind of a 2-in-1, So everything was done pretty much. Right now we're in September, early June.
Okay.
And what we found was that the laminate flooring downstairs, the plank flooring that we had used, we had it installed. It was beautiful one week, and then the following week it was spotty. It started to peel. It was spotty. So when our contractor started looking into it, what we found was that the existing basement only had like a 1-inch foundation, right?
Okay.
And because of the high water table, the floor was not properly poured. You know what I mean? So in turn, what ended up having to happen, right before we listed the house, was we had to pull and take out all the new flooring that we had laid in the basement. My contractors had to come in here with a cement skill saw, cut out the entire foundation.
They're doing this for free, right?
No,
I'm guessing they're doing this for free. Oh, okay.
That's
that $50,000. Okay.
And then they had to dig to the right depth, right? And then they had to fill it with the right amount of, we had crushed stone, the right amount of crushed stone, and then I had to call a mixing company to pour new foundation so that we can do this the right way. And then it had to get sealed with a hydraulic sealer to ensure that this was done the way it's supposed to be done.
All right, so here's the good news though. The good news is everything happens for a reason, right? Because you would have hate to get to final inspection, this thing comes out, you are almost in the home run. But what I'm definitely seeing though is the expenses are adding up, right?
The expenses are adding up, and here's part 2.
Oh boy.
Here's part 2 of the final surprise. So, when you're selling a home, you have different home inspections, and every company is going to have a different opinion. You know what I mean? And often those opinions scare people away.
Of course.
Especially if it's their first or second home.
Yes.
So what happened is we had our septic company come out. They checked the septic, and the result was that the septic was really old, but it was in working condition. But it's an old septic system.
Okay. So it's working condition.
Working condition. But what was found is that some of the other septic companies are going to come along and say, hey, this thing's over 20 years old, you need to change it. You know
What's
what
the
I mean?
average that they would expect for those? If they say 20, 30, is that normally, would that be a red flag if maybe the first septic company comes and says, it's about 20 years old? Is that usually a time frame where you should be concerned, maybe get a second opinion?
Well, this one was, north of the 20s.
Okay.
So it's definitely an older system. But again, it's an opinionated thing. A lot of septic systems that I find in homes are over 20 years old in flips. 20,
yes.
Some are 30 years old and they're still kicking. That's just one of the things that transpired. And also with the pond in the back, we had to add a special pump to make sure that we keep it at a certain level because it was affecting the leach field, which is part of the septic system. So, if too much water was saturated in that area due to the location of the septic tank, then, it's not going to work properly, or you have to get a new septic tank installed at a higher level, things of that nature. So those were all
Complications down the line.
the line.
Yep.
And once disclosed, a lot of people that are not used to stuff like this, they get scared.
Absolutely.
They get scared.
Absolutely. And that's understandable. So, all right, we've got a few things going on. The house still looks great, and you're trying to overcome all these things, right? So you finally get the foundation reinstalled, everything is all set, septic tech is all set. What's still holding up the property from moving at this time? There has to be something else.
Well, there's one more thing, guys. One more thing.
All right. But just one more thing.
One more thing.
All right.
There might be another thing after the one more thing. Right now, one more thing.
All right.
So what we found was that there was a new construction development being built about a half a mile away here that we were not aware of. And when we purchased the property, it was just land.
Yep.
And then as we're getting ready to sell, they're done their site work. They got the big sign out front, and so they're selling brand new homes. Although they were only 2 bedrooms, but mind you, these homes have a full basement as well. Potential for more square footage.
Mm-hmm.
So for about a lot less than what we were going to list this one for, which is a pre-existing home, although it's a much bigger home on more land.
Absolutely.
It definitely had an effect as far as resale for this house.
So in a nutshell, you had unknown competition that was right down the street.
Unknown competition, new build competition. Right down the street.
Yeah, and those buyers are probably not running into the FHA issues we talked about earlier on, right? So that is huge because it's interesting. We drove to this place. I do not recall seeing that development. But what's so funny is driving here today, I paid attention to it.
You saw
and
it.
I saw it, right? So it's the seasons. It is literally keeping your eyes open at every single turn. So what would you have done differently to avoid that? Because that seems like it's beyond your control.
Well, what I would have done different is a little bit more due diligence, even after the fact, before we listed the house, as far as the listing price. You can go down to the town and find out the building permits.
Okay.
I would have been able to see that all that land was purchased.
And you can request that.
It's public information, and that would have been something that we could have kept in mind as we were working on this project.
That is interesting, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a man who lost $50,000 again. You cannot smell him, but it smells great. And he's still standing here. And this property now, Will, what is the next step after all this that has happened? What's going on present day?
Present day is next week. This property's gone, baby.
I'm gonna need you to go ahead and drop a like. Woo! Something to celebrate that right now. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fantastic,
Give
man.
us some love taps on that, thumb action.
And let me so just to not to get in your personal business, but losing $50,000, you are not crying at the end of the deal.
I'm not crying at the end of the day. You know why? Because I'm still walking out of here making money. And the biggest thing behind that, right, is because of how I structured the deal from the beginning. When I invest into these houses, I'm a very conservative buyer. So, for example, when this house was listed, the house was listed for $30,000 more. right? I gave them an offer for $30,000 less because that was my cap when I did my mathematical equations and my formula, my KPIs to figure out, my metrics as far as what my maximum purchase price would be for this house. That was what I gave them, and I wasn't going any higher.
Gotcha. So the research, the analysis you did up front, even through all the speed bumps that you experienced, left you still being able to come out of this making money.
Making money. So originally, guys, this house was supposed to be a home run with bases loaded in the 9th inning. All right? It didn't turn out to be that way, but we still are walking away with a profit, which is what's important. You don't want to get into this game and make money. So make sure when you are purchasing the houses that you're buying them at 65 to 70%, no more than 70% of the ARV, which is the after repair value, after you include your rehab budget, some of your closing costs, and other miscellaneous costs that might be associated with your purchase. Okay, so that's very important, and that's what saved the day here. Had I bought this house for $30,000 higher, that might be, my profit right there, and I might be in the red.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want you to get all this information right now because it might be a lot. So, Will, if people do want to go ahead and learn more, spend more time with you, ask you personalized questions, what's the process to do that? They can't come all the way to New Hampshire.
The process is easy, man. The process is easy peasy, baby. What you're going to do is just go on your IG. Click Wilson E. Georges, WILSONYGEORGES. Give me a like, give me a follow, send me a little DM, right? You can get in my DM.
You heard it.
No worries.
You heard it. You heard it.
And I'll be more than happy to reach back out to you. Right now, we have a course called Flipping One-on-One that we hold via Zoom on Saturday mornings. And we got a group.
10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Absolutely. We got a group of very motivated individuals that, we go over scenarios like this. We go over creative financing, how to get these deals using as little as possible of your own money. You know what I mean? And getting creative with your financing and your partnerships and strategizing to work through these deals and make money.
You know what I love? I love that you, unlike other videos I've seen where they blow it out so much, right? You're using you don't have to have a dime in your pocket. I like what you just said right there. As little money as possible of your own. So, if you want to get the truth and the knowledge, make sure you go ahead and follow this man. You heard him. He gave you the instructions. Hit up his DM. No frisky stuff in the DM business. This is beautiful. I hope you've enjoyed all the views that you're seeing as we walk through. This has been a great project for Will. And build strength, right? And you always learning. That's what I like. Is it seems like this one, even though it was a home run in the beginning, gave you so many lessons that you would have never expected.
Absolutely. I live by ABL, which is always be learning, and I live by ABC, which is always be closing.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we're going to go ahead and close this one. Make sure you tune in next time. Another property all the way to New Hampshire. We live free and make money.
We live free and make money or die, baby. Hey, one more thing. Check out our YouTube channel. You're probably already on it. If not, please check it out. It's Wilson E. Georges. And give us a like, share, subscribe. Thank you very much, guys.
I press the button.